right, everyone. So welcome to our fifth VIP session. Very excited to have you all here. We have an absolutely jam-packed session here, and it's just the perfect timing to get everyone educated on the topics we have for this week. And so we are talking about how to handle big bags. And with price dumping right now, the timing couldn't be better. And I'd like to see everyone having strong hands and good trading psychology, because this is when your learnings really count. All right, so I'll be going over some recommended settings for the current market, some Bitcoin analysis, and then talking about those big bags, how to handle them. Then Todd's going to go into his VIP strategy and how it's been going. And then I'm going to talk about how to not be greedy. So when we're reaching all-time highs, how do you get out of, how do you make sure you're not too greedy there? I'm just going to mute everyone there. Yeah, and then we're going to talk about Tough Octopus, just absolutely killing it. 2K to 42K, just amazing.
Yeah, he's got a little slide as well too for us, so he'll take over at that point.
Ah, fantastic! I love it. Yeah, and then we can talk about Todd has added something to the SAR spreadsheet about how to run your different trend time frames and how to run your bots with those different confirmations of trend, which is just fantastic. And then we're going to have talk about rapid fire version 3. It's just incredible the amount of guys we have testing out that. So thank you everyone for helping me test that out. And we'll have some news about the next version of SAR, version 4.5, using the new divergence script. And then Node's going to do his trading pairs. And then we have a little announcement. Actually, we're going to do our NFT announcement a little bit earlier. But I think what everyone wants to do right now is a little Bitcoin technical analysis. Did you want to start her off there, Todd?
Sure, yeah. So what we could do, I'll start sharing.
Yeah, you do your thing there.
So screen one, this was yesterday in chat, looked at a lower high on BTC, or sorry, lower high on Total 2, lower high on ETH. BTC was still leading, right? So yesterday, that's yesterday. We come over to, I guess this is going to be our early morning. So this would be 1 o'clock. So BTC is running up and then just gets rejected down. There's already divergences on Total 2 and Ethereum. So that overnight, basically, I don't run any risk on bots. So I'll go down to 3 pairs and I'll dial things down. And I only run them when I'm comfortable with the market. Currently looking at it here on the 4 hour, looking like we're going to bounce here right around this 47K level. If you go to the daily and flip to the daily, oops, let's get out of here. Flip to the daily quick. Noticing that we've come back down and we have just broke, we've broke what I thought would have held earlier at 48K. As if you're on a bit earlier, I was mentioning, 48K. I thought we would come down and ping off of 48K and run back up. Alex will get into that. That's a weekly level. So for now, we are sitting above support at 46.5 approximately. So this would be good news for a lower, printing a bottom here, maybe get a little bit of consolidation and then a move back up. But ideally, if this breaks down here, we're not going to be wanting to run long bots. This is going to be a flip back. So for what I can see right here, looking at it like this, is we're gonna be watching this level like a hawk at, let's say, 46.3. If that 46.3 level breaks, then I'll probably stop all long bots. Right now, what you could do is if you're on 3 commas, you could load your Telegram, go /help, stop all long bots. That's probably a good idea. And then if you're on the VIP strat TVC, just go disable all long bots for now. Like I say, if this were to break around here, I'd be looking for lower levels back to maybe even the 40s, to be honest. You'll often see as we get back to, this is the highest price it's been back since May. What you'll often see is they'll give us a little bit of hope. You'll get a little bit of hope of running up, and then there's a nice rug pull. So if you go back, Note and I had established this right in September of last year. This was where is it? This was September 20th. Yeah, this would have been right about here. Yeah, we were about to print a higher high we're about to break the previous all-time high for, let's say the past 6, 8, 10 months. And just as you get up there, they rug pull you down. So we always got to be aware of these sort of situations. It seems that whenever we get closest to a high from a couple months ago, there's always one rug down. Everyone gets so excited about longs, and then just out of nowhere, wham. So this is where we need to be aware of, especially when we're looking at what is actually happening right now. We are getting our rug down. So for here, turn off all your long bots, and it looks like we're going to be seeing probably, in my opinion, a back test of 41. And then like I say, if this doesn't hold here, we're looking at a back test of 41. So this is now invalidated. So that's it for me. I'll let Alex share.
Yeah, that's quickly changing our TA as we go. Very exciting. I think, am I on the right? Yeah. Okay. So I think we all see the importance of managing our risk and making sure that we can take these dumps. You'll see, before we talk about what's going on right now, you'll see I had mentioned this box down here, right at the weekly pivot and the POC. And it just ended up perfectly touching this box that we had drawn out. I saw a lot of guys getting scared on this dump. That is why we're here, guys. We give you this technical analysis so you can really be aware of what you should be looking out for. Okay. Yeah. And so when a dump this size, when we look at it, just get the tool here. So this was just down 8.4%, right? That's not
a dump.
That's not a dump.
No.
This is a dump though. Yeah, we're gonna do it right now. So make sure you're aware when I'm giving you guys these levels. Yeah, they could very well happen. And what happens on these big dumps is that we're seeing liquidations now, and that just fuels the fire, right? It goes down a lot faster. And so I would say the first thing I'm looking at right now on what's happening with current price action is we've lost the anchored VWAP from the all-time high and the last low that we put in. And so you'll find institutional buyers are interested in these levels, but they're not picking it up. So that is not a good sign. We're looking at what's the next levels that we could hit. So we always look at these monthly pivots. You guys see I have R2, R1, and the monthly pivot. And so I think we all need to be aware of this S1 right here. That's very, very realistic. And this right here is the point of control for 2 weeks prior. So we had a lot of volume put in right at this level here. And so for this week and this week, so I would be very aware of this 40K level. It's absolutely massive support. Yeah. And so, if you're looking at that kind of dump, that's a 25%, right? We have to be prepared for that. So we have our DCA set to 15%, and make sure that when you hit 15%, you're not getting wrecked, that you can handle a further dump down to the 25%, and we start laddering. Now I'm going to talk a lot about, I don't want to go over the strategy too much because I'm already talking about how to handle the big bags. But you can see the bounce now. We're coming back up to this anchored VWAP, which is encouraging. And I think you guys will also remember me saying that the monthly pivot, first of all, it's very strong support. But if we lose that, then we can safely turn bullish if we get a big closure below that level. All right. I just want to talk about where we topped off, because finding a high in the market. It's very important. So what's happening right now is we have the Bybit trading competition. And so everyone is trading off the golden pocket. Okay, this is standard trading 101. You trade the golden pocket. And what's happened here is this is the golden pocket from the all-time high down to the low that we put in June. And so you see this golden pocket here. We initially rejected off the 618. And then we came up to the 0.66. So that's why we call it a pocket, right? So we came up to the 0.66, and then that was it. We did not hit the R2, but you know, if you're just if you want to keep it simple and look at pivots, you could say R2, maybe that's where we're going to hit the top. So you could say we rejected R2 a little bit. But look at this strong bounce. This is quite nice. And you can see this level, we're hitting this level here and here. So I did not have this on my chart before, but maybe this is the level, because you can see rejection. It's an SR flip here.
Yeah, so, Binance chart's bouncing off 45.4.
Yeah,
I've drawn as support. So that's good news.
Yeah,
that is good news for our.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we can safely say this is a shakeout, and it's getting rid of overly leveraged positions. And that is not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good thing when we're talking about bull runs, because in order to fuel a move to the upside, you need to have that volatility to the downside as well. If we go onto our halving chart, again, we're drawn out. Everything is lengthened compared to previous halvings, but you can see in 2017 we had these big dumps. Right here. Let me get my, so we had a 22% dump in September, beginning of September. So this is very much on par for what we see. You can see here in July on also in the 2017, we had again 33% dump. So these are moves that we need to anticipate. We need to manage our risk so that we're not getting wrecked by them. I think you know, a lot of guys are running you know, divs off, you know, not thinking about risk management enough. And this is where you learn your lessons, right? You have to be able to be prepared for the market to go and shake you out if you're overly leveraged. And so that is really where what Todd was talking about, and Todd is going to go over it more, but you have to take profit. The gravy train does come to an end. And so it's extremely important to take profit. Right? What are we doing? So how to handle big bags. Perfect timing. So actually I have to do
recommended settings.
Recommended settings. All right. Yeah. I have one more thing. We have a weekly level and the R3 up here at 58K. So this is really during the month of September. You know, it's a pretty strong bounce, so it's very possible we just continue up. This is really where I'm looking for hedge short positions for us to really slow down. So I would worry about you know, what we're talking about, not getting greedy later on in the session. This is where I would not get greedy. I would start to scale back. Obviously the golden pocket here was very important. This is the next important level. So guys, keep it on your radar. Keep 58K on your radar, and you know, you don't want this to you don't want to be over leveraged like maybe you were on this one. So be safe around 58K. And if we start going through that level, just remember the market makers don't like us getting above the monthly R3. So if we go up, it's very likely a swing failure that we go back below. So be very careful on any trades above this R3. All right. And yeah, you can see all the divergences we're putting in, right? This is not sustainable. We need a reset here on the oscillator, and the same thing with with this stochastic. It needs a reset. We need to come down to these neutral or bearish control territories. All right. So now we'll talk about how to handle bags. All right. These are just so I guess the main thing is, maybe you're sitting in some bags right now. Don't overinvest in them, right? Maybe you tried to put in some trades at the R1, this weekly level. It can always go lower. So with your manual trades, we talked about this many times, but you want to be laddering in. You're just putting in little, instead of a bazooka blast, you want to have little machine gun fire, right? Taking little pot shots, because you don't know if it's going to come lower. So we talked about this POC. This was a good place to start with some entries and then bring it down to the monthly pivot. This is perfect.
Can you turn the waiting room off? We got some people wanting to join.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been dealing with that.
So well, just go security, disable waiting room.
Okay.
Just a couple.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody, you can come in now. Let me just make sure we have. Oh yeah, I have a couple guys here. All right, you're in. All right. So I think that's the first thing is don't overinvest. And the next thing is know your levels. So have these monthly pivots on your chart, and so that okay, this isn't so bad. We did dip below the monthly pivot, but we didn't lose it, right? There's no high time frame closures below this. So we can be fairly confident in that. And the other thing is looking at market structure. So yes, we're making a lower low here, but you can see here, this is a major level right here where there's a lot of volume. So if we don't lose this is pretty good, right? And we look at on a weekly time frame, not losing this level is very good. This is if we can manage to come up here to above 48K, this is no reason to get shaken out. Okay. And the other thing is we want to make sure we are keeping strong hands. So this is really where that trading psychology comes in. We were talking about this trading in the zone, right? Trading for a living. These all talk about you don't want to have the fear when you see price dumping. You want to have a plan, and really take some of what we've been talking about with our technical analysis. Do your own technical analysis so that okay, we're not making high time frame closures. We're still in a very much a bull run here, and strong bounces, right? A market that's about to go into a bear market is not going to have strong bounces like that.
It's just going to flop.
Yeah, it's just going to flop over. So we want to stay strong. And yeah, thank you to the market. This is really making this topic very easy to talk about today, having this dump. So I want to see everyone with strong hands, especially, I saw everybody getting, a lot of guys getting weak hands on this dump here at the end of August. So I think this is something really important to note is you need to know your market cycles, and also so knowing that we are in this halving cycle, right? We had our mid-cycle dip. So this is not a high time frame trend change. There's no reason to be closing all your positions saying, okay, this is it. The bull run is over, right? We don't want our VIP saying that. So you want to make sure you have strong hands into this. You know price is going to come back. The point is, can you get out earlier, and can you avoid liquidation? And if you're over leveraged, then it becomes a question of, can you make sure that you're not liquidated? It's either adding funds or closing positions, and moving your liquidation points further away from your entries. Okay. And yeah. And So let's make sure that everyone is strong hands, diamond hands even, and we'll get everybody on the right side of the market, and hopefully we can see these levels up here, the R3, the weekly, and make sure you guys are getting some good profits. But right now, I'm going to go through my recommended settings. So let me just bring up all my stuff here. So the option right now, you could go all divs off, but you can see what's happening, right? If you have your divs off right now, it's not going to go very well. And so this is catching all the longs. See, this is a divergence here, right? Very strong divergence. So divs off, it's not serving you very well. An RSI max did keep you safe here, but then on this top, you're catching it. And I mean, you'd be just stuck in this, and then this divergence wouldn't do you any good. So I think what we need to talk about is how can we move through these settings. I'm going to enable divergence. And as I showed you guys in Art of the Divs, you start off nice and high. So let's say a 6,100 and 5,100. So we're still getting this here. So we want to keep pulling this back until we no longer see these divergences here. So I would start on the by putting this to 5 minutes. So we have a more reactive SAR. So right away, SAR on a 5-minute time frame can see, okay, this is not looking good. It can detect the trend change much faster than a 15-minute lags, right? And higher time frames lag even more. So having a 5-minute time frame really helps you be reactive quickly, which is what you want. All right. So now we want to start to scale back. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this guy up, maybe like a 530, 510. Yeah, I like that. So 510 is actually looking pretty good. What you can see here, you get some longs in here and then a bit of a dump. But if you want to be getting lots of good signals, and this is not a major dump. You want to catch the major cycle top. You don't want this kind of thing. That's all right, right? This is something that comes right back within the same day. So having longs here is not necessarily a bad thing, and you're protected here. This is still doing a very good job. So how can we? I can scroll back, but I'm basically looking at how much can I bring this back. So I can do a 660. Yeah, still good. 650, 640. Yeah, so 640. This is looking very good. Let's go back here again. 6,100. Looking at this time frame. And yeah, so I think I like that. Oh, see, this is not good. So what do you want? Yeah, a 640. And then you're not getting caught in these guys and this one here. So I'm liking 640 right now. So you can go ultra low on the bullish time frame if you want to catch more longs, and if not, go up to a 530, sorry, on the bullish divergences, and you can start to get rid of some of these late longs. We don't like these. So a 550 gets rid of these late longs. 540. Yeah, see, so you need a 550 to not get late longs in this case. So that's how we do it. So that's an Art of the Divs for this current market, a 550, 640 on Bitcoin. And that's since ETH is, it's becoming the major now. Maybe we'll pass Bitcoin during this cycle. We'll have to see. But we want to have good settings there as well. All right, so let me just see what we can do here. So on a I was noticing last night a 15-minute time frame on ETH is actually looking pretty nice. So we'll stick
Does
to
look
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay. So again, start off at the 5 100, 6 100. 5 and 6 just seem to be really good these days. So you can see here, it's actually looking very good. I like that a lot. Go in auto so you can see that better. Yeah. Yeah, so this is actually very nice. This gets out. So even a 5 100, 6 100. This was what I was finding in the last bull market, or the big run up in January, is 5 100, 6 100 is very good. Now, can we dial it back a little bit, be a little bit safer? We absolutely can. So I would say let's start to bring this down. 660. Yeah, see, we lose a lot of signals doing this kind of stuff. All right, and so if you're doing that, you need to have more aggressive on the bullish divergences. There you go. So a 540 is pretty nice. 530. Yeah, 530 looks very, very nice on this. Yeah, so I'm liking 530, 640 on here. Yeah. So you're going to be pretty safe with that 540, 640. So I would stick to that for now, and yeah, continuously monitor the market and use those art of the divs skills to adjust when you're at market top, when you're reaching a big level like a golden pocket like this, right, from the all-time high. Start to dial back, get those divs on, and do a little technical analysis. All right, and yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Todd now to talk about our the VIP strategy.
Can you just mute all?
Yeah, yeah, you'll get muted. That's why I didn't want to do it before, but I
Okay,
will.
sure.
I'll
Sounds
mute
good.
all. Yeah,
Okay,
just
so
unmute yourself after. Let me just see. Mute all. Okay, so Todd, bring yourself back now.
yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we're good. So okay, so we've done pretty good.
Oh, there you go. Unmute yourself
Okay, how
now.
about
There you
now?
go.
Good
Yeah,
now?
you're good. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so VIP 1, 1202. So this was 20% weekend. Roll into this pretty quickly. VIP 2, number 2, 2271. VIP 3, 5523. There's been a lot of things that we've changed kind of going forward with this account. VIP 4, 13763 balance, August 21, 2021. Insane results as our recommended pairs did really well. So that's where our recommended pairs really can do well with it. Now, for my lessons learned for the past cycle, this past 2 weeks in between sessions, so we hit 18K total, and that's including spot as well. I lost about $4,100 on the V1.04 bug. So issue with ISO mode and stop loss values switching upon restarting the bot. Basically, it sold the bottom on me, right? So if I go back and I look, this is exactly where it sold the bottom on me. That's my fault. So I got nobody to blame but myself. I need to be on, or we all need to be on the latest version of any self-hosted bots. So I updated to version 1.045, left the bots run as is, not worth chasing a loss. I did not up the percent or anything, sticking to my trading rules. So then this note here, this is just my own personal musings. I was spending too much time helping everyone else but myself. So I've turned my DMs off. If you need me, just tag me in chat. So that kind of goes to show like you can't overinvest and neglect your own stuff. So you have to still do some items for yourself. Bot adjustment done using 1 hour, 4 hour signals, and I'll go over that shortly. And kind of a mini frameworks of how it goes. Mad Crypto Trader's got some great ideas for it, which we'll enlarge into on the next call. I spent probably 6 hours building these slides and everything out for us, but there's just too much to go through. So this is not going to be complete. Anyway, so the bottom line for this past 2 weeks cycle is always to try to ensure you're on the latest software versions of anything self-hosted. it is imperative as you have funds on the line. And then lastly, I noticed I was getting very close to hitting the leverage limits on the minors. So I actually dropped my leverage yesterday because at 20x, your max position sizing on the small caps is going to be 25,000. So if you hit that, you can't DCA any further. You have to go in manually, take that trade over, and that's not always the best idea. So leverage change to 10x in the near future for anybody as you're nearing that level, as you're nearing that 18K, ideally right around that 15K, and we'll go over this here on the slides. As far as max position sizing, that's going to depend on your account, how risky you're putting it, and then yet again, what your initial percent buy is, DCA, etc. Like I say, if you run out of room to DCA positions, then you're not going to have a good time, right? Let's just say it that, because you're going to have to physically go to that exchange. It could be the instance of maybe you're able to DCA this down to here, but your bot cuts you out here with max position sizes, right? It might be something like that where it's just enough to get you out if it kept going. So that's why it's always good to leave yourself basically tons of room, avoid liquidation, and then lastly, if you're running hot degen accounts, you need to establish that there is a risk there. So it's either you have a reserve funds or you dial it back with hourly flips or TA. So once we get into that, let's go over for a quick look at the DCA spreadsheet just for position sizes. This is going to be just a quick overview of this, and then we'll go into it later with the DCA calculator. So if you're trading the majors, there's tons of liquidity and there's tons of volume. So they'll really give you basically, 50K to 125X. They will give you a ton of position size to add to that fire if you wanted to. The Binance is nice where they actually give you that limit. So if I hit a 25X or a 20X, I'm capped at this amount. Whereas if you're on Bybit, it hasn't changed. So each position that you keep adding, keep pressing the button, you can continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper, right? Binance is actually kind of nice where they make you start with setting the leverage, which then determines your position sizing. Whereas anybody on Bybit, you'll notice as you add to a position on Bybit, your leverage on cross just keeps going up and up and up. That's not ideal because I've done it before where, I enter a trade and I had an account that was maybe I had 20 ETH in the one account and I hit one extra zero on a trade. Well, then next thing you know, I basically went from 5X to 20X right quick, and I was literally scared, right? So I ended up getting that trade out, but that's where it's nice about the Binance position size limits is that they will give you a maximum value of position size that you can go to. You can't go higher. Whereas Bybit and some of the other exchanges, I'm not too sure about FTX because I don't manual trade much on there, but like I say, it's nice to cap your limits based on how much you're willing to risk per trade, and then always establish that, hey, I need to have this holy smokes factor. What do we do in this type of condition, right? Do I add to it? Do I want to have extra room there? How leveraged do I want to be, etc., right? So now that's basically that. The VIP strategy will go into a little bit more on the 1 hour, 4 hour signals. So I'm going to pass this off. Currently, there's about 18.2 in the account, and I've got $2,000 in spot. Basically, overnight, I've got 3 pairs open, and I've got TRX right now and EOS, and the other one got out. And so the other thing I'd like to make everyone aware of is if you go and measure your wicks, this is a 26% dump on TRX here. But if you go to BTC is maybe, so 19%. So, a lot of your low cap altcoins will dump a lot further than BTC. So as your position size and your accounts grow, it's almost wiser to go to the safer coins, which we will show you next. I've made the pairs list in here, which we'll go over next, in line with the slides. But as your position size and your account grows, you almost don't want to be suffering through the drawdown of these altcoins that are highly volatile, such as TRX, EOS, etc. You want to stick to the majors because they don't fluctuate as much because they're basically there's a ton of volume in there, so they're not easily manipulated. Now, that's just getting ahead. Let's go to our next slide here. We got a lot to cover. How not to be greedy.
All right. So I think this is very important because we just had a moment where we learned to not be greedy. So I think what we really need to take away from not being greedy is you want to take your capital out, and especially your initial capital. All right. So when you've reached the top like this, and you can see the levels, reach an R2 and R3, right? This is really the time to consider, is this going to continue forever? The answer is it never does, right? There's always going to be a shakeout. And so we need to take profit as price pumps up. And the great thing is we have Daisy Auto Transfer Script, which Todd's going to talk about after. So you can make a plan to take profit. And this is really, if you read any of these books that we've been talking about, trading psychology, trading for a living, trading in the zone, it's all about trading with a plan. You don't want to just be caught off guard and not have a plan. And the biggest and most important part of that is planning for dumps and downsides, and then and then the next part is being able to take profit, and because the gravy train does not continue forever. And so being able to say, when I invest in an account, especially with the counter trend bot with Wick Hunter, I always make sure that as soon as I reach over 100%, I'll either take out that initial investment entirely and go back, or I will do like a 50%, and then when I get up there again, I'll do another 50%. And so when you take out your initial capital, you're just playing with profits at that point. You're only risking profits, which is very, very critical. Then whatever your hard-earned money is not at risk. Yeah. Playing with profits is really the best thing you can do. And beyond that, it's really all about listening to what we're talking about here, listening to with the levels and the market cycles, and also listening to Todd when he gives an announcement in market cycles, because he's very, very good. He lets us know when there's big stuff about to occur. So take him seriously, and we post even more in VIP about when to risk off. And
I would just note too, like if you guys can actually go and get that chart, you're not going to be disappointed. I'm not going to lie, lately I've been slammed, so I haven't really been in the zone, but I did post lower high on total and ETH yesterday. If everyone can just go take a copy of that chart and do your own TA, you'll be able to pick up on that stuff yourself, right? So it was posted in there, and then from there you can just decide, what do I do? Do I dial risk down? Basically just look for divergences on it. Really, that's all you got to do.
Yeah. Todd has some
again.
Yeah. Todd is very good at this stuff. So we're looking at Todd is very good at posting all the different levels, pull back. You have to make sure you're watching these market cycle alerts. And also Evan posted about USDT dominance, I believe.
Longs off. Yeah, that
was
longs yesterday.
Off. Yeah. So we pay attention to what we're saying. And then beyond that, it's having these monthly levels on and anything between pivot and R1, that's very safe. Get to R2, start to risk off, maybe turn divs on. And then R3 and any trades above R3, that's really where you risk off and start taking some profits out. All right. Or you can take the emotion completely out of it and just use Daisy Auto Transfer Script. which I just absolutely love, because you don't need to, it's just no subjectivity to that. It's just, you do it automatically. So that's really what it is. Have a plan, guys. And what we want to do in the higher time frames, right now we're in the middle of a bull run. Okay, so you need to be aware that any shakeouts now are exactly that, they're shakeouts. But when we get close to these market tops, right, 100K, 200, 238K would be if we reach the same levels scaled to our current price. And the maximum, people talk about would be up at this $800,000 level. Probably won't reach there. A lot of people were saying before we would reach somewhere in the middle here, an average between the two. But really, maybe it's less. This is a longer cycle. Maybe we hit below there. So anything over 100K, 150K, 200K, this is really the time where you're aware that, okay, the gravy train is wonderful. Now is the time to start cashing out, not after we start to dump. All right. So when you're considering your trading plan, always be aware of the halving cycle. ETH is doing something, I wouldn't call it a halving, but with the ETH burn that's happening right now, it's a similar thing where they're creating scarcity, and it's going to have a big pump, but that pump won't last forever. Right. And the last thing I would say here is being aware of the CMEs. And so the best example is what we had earlier in the year. January reached the 8th of the month, and then we dumped 30%, right? And then we reached the middle of February 22nd, and then we dumped 26%. And March we dumped 17%, and then in April we dumped 25%, and then May was one for the record books, right? 50%. So if we're heading into the middle of the month, you want to be aware that you should be risking off and taking profit. Okay, this is really the time. Any hedged positions, start to close them. Maybe consider opening short positions and take profit. This is the time. You don't want to be stuck after closing bags in losses. You want to, when things are good, that's not the time to say, oh, I'm gonna go all in or put my life savings into it. That's the time
on the way up.
Yeah, that's the time to increase your life savings, right? This is the good time, and it's very difficult. It's addictive to, especially with the bots, with their daily compounding, right? Oh boy, I made 7% today. I want to keep compounding, but you have to be able to have that psychology where you say, okay, I'm making these good gains. It's not going to last forever. Let's start to risk off. Take some funds into spot, into your hardware wallet, whatever it is. Start to risk off. And this is exactly what we just had. January we started to dump on the 8th. Guess what day is today, right? We're at the 7th, so very, very close. And it is possible that we continue to dump to this 40K level. So you want to be thinking about how when we are pumping like this, making a move up like this, you have to realize it's not going to last forever, and it's not sustainable forever. And in particular, this is a very good example where our end of month shakeoff from the CME closes, it wasn't very major. So we needed a major liquidation event to fuel a further move to the upside. So don't be part of the fuel. Be one of the 5% of the market that does not get liquidated and that does take profit. All right. All right. That's it for me.
Yeah. So I'll let me just go over to here. I'm just gonna close my 3 columns. We'll go back to the VIP. So in here, so screen 1, I just posted some snips. So this is the bad part about today, right? Your value just goes down. So my account's down 76K in alt value. So just like that, gone, right? So that is just fiat spot trade volume. I lost one degen account in there. You basically, anytime you, Binance is a casino. Let's just say this, right? 5K gone on my sub account degen attached to my main, not the VIP. I had a stop loss open on all positions built into Binance, but Binance did not recognize it. So that's why after the first rug pull in May, we identify that you can't really trust Binance for even a stop loss on the positions in their own UI. Their UI is just garbage. That's why you should be going off to fiat and spot. Go to, margin low risk, anything really, or off to FTX. Anytime you're playing on Binance, consider that money as good as gone tomorrow, because that's the way you have to really just approach it, right? So we'll get into everything else now. If we go into auto transfer, the auto transfer is the protection. So that is taking profits out, that is pushing it over to spot. And then realistically on spot, this is what it looks like. So I'm not liquidated. I'm just down theoretically $76,000 in fiat and spot value on altcoins. Well, I guess the 5K is in there too, but you get what it means, right? So you have the hedged positions on fiat and spot. You've got the ability to buy the coins lower, and then you're just theoretically holding a bag versus a liquidation. So how do you do this? Auto transfers installed. Here's the link. 50% of profits going to spot every 1 hour as long as margin allocation does not exceed 10%. Now, if you're running very risky or very aggressive on this, you might actually want to go 80-20, right? So you could do 80-20, or, realistically, it's you guys trade for yourselves. We can guide you, but at the end of the day, we're not guiding your accounts, and we don't guide accounts. So you have to figure out, do you want to do 50? Do you want to do 80, etc.? Download auto transfer at the link above, edit the auto transfer.json file using Notepad, or you can use Notepad++. That's a very good one as well. You input the API key and the API secret here and ensure that your API has universal transfer allowed on it. And then you place your files in the kind of bot folder as shown below. So right here, so auto transfer, the text document, the PowerShell script, and then your storage file, and then everything here with the webhook. So then that way you can get the deal notifications of everything going out. And it may be better to use your home computer to edit the auto transfer.json file, then place it into your Google Drive. So if you load your Google Drive on the VPS, then you can get into it, download it there, and you don't have the security issues. There are issues sometimes with the drag and drop. Like sometimes you'll have to go back into that VPS and then select the security to be able to drag and drop it. So if you haven't done that, then just use Google Drive. Right click the auto transfer PowerShell script and hit run with PowerShell. And then from there, you could see transfer successful. You could give it a name, right? So if you've got, let's say you've got multiple accounts running, keep in mind this works on any futures or Binance account. Total balance, current margin, 1 hour profit, etc. And then so then it's just pushing funds back and forth. Now on the spot trading, what I love about spot trading is I can sleep at night with the majority of my funds. I don't have to worry about liquidations. I don't have to worry about anything, right? The main thing is you look at it and if you're down a bit, you're down a bit. Right? So I'm down 76,000 in value on fiat and spot. UPNL of active bot deals down 12K. That is what it is, right? Some of this stuff I don't monitor daily. I monitor the high risk accounts daily, and then they feed the lower risk or low risk spot accounts, and those can just sit forever because ultimately the market's just going to have enough volatility to keep these positions clearing and closing. We wait a couple weeks, we'll be back up and these positions will be out, right? So that's how I play it. I don't have to worry too much. I just worry about my main degen accounts or whatever the high risk stuff is on futures in times like these. Another thing too is if you have a lot of accounts, it's also better to consolidate them. And then back to what I was saying earlier about the position size. So if you have a position size, and let's say you're trading 50K, on the miners, you're going to hit that very quickly. So then you're going to have to drop your leverage to 10x, 5x, 3x, etc. if you're playing on fiat and spot, you maybe don't want to be necessarily drawn to coins that are pump and dump. Like if I take a look, let's look at here's a bad one for you, right? So take a look at this here. If you're playing this, so it pumps up 16%. And then it dumps almost 40%, right? This is not what you want to be trading on fiat and spot accounts. If you're on fiat and spot or even a large account, you want to stick to the majors. And so the majors in my mind here, with the only one that would be questionable, could be TRX here. So you could add to these and or delete ones if you want. Mainly, you want to stick to high market cap coins for your spot trading. So if I go to coin market cap, ideally, you're going to want to stick to anything that is top 50 and above. So your cutoff would be Leo or Kusama. And I don't know anything about this coin. I personally wouldn't trade that. So I would rather stick to what I know, which would be this list. So feel free to edit this for your spot strategies. And then for the ease of use, you can create a spot bot quickly on 3 commas. In the future, TVC will handle spot. The setup is here. It's basically just a 7 SO bot, 1.49 scalings. And then keep in mind on spot, you cannot exceed 100% of your traded balance when filling DCAs. The main risk is simply holding a coin down X%. So for this instance, I've set it up to use 125% of the total balance available. And then every hour auto transfer adds to the account. The BO and SO will be adjusted each week bi-weekly based on the balance increases. Create the bot, send alerts from SAR to it, and then I would recommend running very conservative on spot. So what we'll look at for the charting would be something like this, very conservative, and then you fire alerts to the bot. So if you look at something like this, let's go take a look at even TRX here. Like something like that, even if I take this, even with a little bit of DCA, it comes over to its price. So if I fill one level of DCA, I get out of that deal there, and then we're clear, right? So that's ideally what you want to focus on spot is divs on. You can adjust the divs and then go very minuscule RSI minimum and maxes because I don't want to hit the run-ups. I just want to hit base hits. Like think of this as you're trying to hit a home run on the way up, and that's very risky. For the spot, the large accounts, I just want to do base hits, base hits, base hits, base hits. That's it, right? So then we go to, from here, we'll see if Tough Octopus wants to do a quick presentation on how this happened, how this went from 2K to 42K. Obviously, this is a very risky account, so I don't know how it's doing right now. However, this could be something we could look to implement if you can determine that the market is just going to go up in stretches. And my gut instinct on this and or degen accounts is it's got to be in stretches and the profit's got to come out unless you are willing to play with a stop loss or lose a good amount of it. So now we'll see if Tough Octopus can share. We just might have to change permissions. Alex, we'll see if is there a permissions that we can
for mute all.
Yeah, go to participants and allow to share screen or security.
Oh yeah, it says yeah. And you allow participants. Yeah, you can do it. He just needs to unmute wherever he is.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. So let me try to share the screen. So I was changing my power presentation while you were talking and while the market was changing. So if there are any issues, you know, sorry about that.
All good.
All right.
Are you able to share?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out a little bit. It is, hold on just a second. Give me a second. Todd kind of cricked on me pretty quickly.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Sorry. Oh, it is struggling, but I am trying to. Technical issues. Those IT guys, right?
Todd, maybe you can go over the SAR spreadsheet, the
Sure.
start
Yeah, I'll
start
go over
stock
that quickly.
conditions.
Yeah,
Yeah, take your
absolutely.
time, tough octopus, and we'll get to
So
you.
All right, all right.
I'll go ahead a bit here. So the DCA spreadsheet, we'll go over that, and then ending with stop and start conditions. So briefly touched on leverage limits here earlier, right? The DCA spreadsheet really is to show where your account exposure is going to be if you were to continue to adding fuel to that fire, if you've got all the DCAs. In next VIP, we're going to go over some add-ons that we've got access to for 3 commas users. And so that'll mainly be the bot manager from Mark. And so there is the ability to batch edit all bots, etc., and basically cut out DCAs once you hit a certain margin usage, right? So that's going to be an advanced touch on what I'm going to talk about today. But so really, you got to plan for the worst case scenario. So everything that I ever do with my bots is plan for the worst case scenario. Think about what's the worst that could happen. What's the most risk that you're willing to take? And then from there, everything else can just be adjusted as fourth, right? So I was on a coaching call yesterday, and we established that, hey, like we need to start trading very safely. This is an example of how to use this calculator. So if I'm trading $100,000 account and I get 10 pairs traded, if I have something like this, right, you got to watch how your DCA scaling comes into effect, because just with one pair 1500, your position size at 7 SOs is almost 50K, which is half of that account. If you have 2 of those trades in and bagged, that's 1x. Now, this is after in my mind, a minimal 15.62 dump. As we just looked and saw, if you were trading MTL, for an example, it does almost a 40% dump, right? So that's a huge drawdown on your account. You don't want to be over leveraged in times like this. So if you're looking at something like this is way too much risk exposure, and this is way too much negative drawdown on that account. You're just adding too much fuel to that fire. Prices continuing going against you. Something like this would be liquidated at about a 21% drop. So this is where we need to be safe, and we need to dial things back to something like this. If you go back and you chart, let's just go look at BTC USDT. Now, for my spot stuff, like I say, if you go back and you watch VIP number 2, realistically, I try and keep the drawdown to a minimum, but then at the lowest value that I'll go to 62%, because that is golden retrace, and I don't feel we would see anything more than that. That would be on a futures account. Anything over 20, 30K on futures, this is going to be my go-to, because I just don't want to have to deal with anything like this. And as you see today, there's liquidations on all servers, right? So there's liquidations on STP server, Wick Hunter server, you name it. I bet you could go check every server that's trading crypto right now, and you'll see liquidations all over. You have to arm yourself with the knowledge that these markets are manipulated. You have to become aware of, if you're not using any sort of automation, this is the max amount of pain that you can endure, right? So if I have a 100K account, 10 pairs traded, percent from liquidation, this is my total position size, which is based on 10 pairs times 16,000, or 1.61x. Theoretically, percent to liquidation would be at 62%, and that's from your average entry price. So like I say, you go back to here, this would be, so peak to peak, you're looking at 46. If I go back and we measure the 9,900 to 3,500 wick, that's also a good one as well. Sorry, this is the September rug pull. That's 18%. That's really not that much. Here's another big one as well too. So you got to plan for, can I withstand that? That's 59%, right? And then the other thing to keep in mind is you also have to be aware that that's on BTC. If you're trading some of the liquid or small cap alts, they are going to do a lot worse, right? So like I say, you go look at chart a few of the pairs that you're trading, see what the max loss that they've had, and then plan backwards. So maybe you don't want to trade this one because it's a low volume coin, and it's basically a pump and dump. That's a 38% dump here. This one you could classify as a 76%. If let's say you had very risky on it, you got caught up here, 76%, that would not be good, right? So you always got to stop and think worst case scenario and then work back. Now, in the future here, like I say, I touched on it earlier, we can mitigate our risk using the add-ons from Mark Drexler's bot manager. And so instead of doing $100,000 account, 10 pairs traded, maybe I cut this out at 6. I only allow 6 pairs to go through. I've got the alerts firing, and then I just start and stop bots based on what is performing the best. This would be something on spot here or futures that you would never have any problem with it, which would be 0.97x. So you would never see a liquidation on that. Even if you got caught, you would probably see a liquidation price, but it would be very low. So I've added this on the DCA settings, bot settings calculator. Now there is also coefficients here for short and long liquidation variables. I'm not going to go over how to do this because this actually takes quite a bit of time, but you can go over to Binance and you can calculate, basically do verifications on this calculator versus Binance Exchange. And I'll probably do one of these in the following couple of days here. But you basically gather the current price, input current price to the right, find your last SO DCA trigger in percentages, and then you're either multiplying it for above or below. So for a long, I would say current price is 33.6 and my entry price is 38,000 or above, right? So that would be my entry price, because I'm assuming I bought the top and then it dropped 15.62%, and then from there I'm filled all 7 SOs. That gives my initial entry price, and then from there I gathered the total position size from filling 7 SOs on a single pair based on the BO and SO, which in this case would be 161K. Average entry price would be this, and that's taken from basically your DCA, right? So my entry price is 38,297. Current price is 3367. Average entry price would be 34,755. That gives you a total BTC size, current price, and a balance. And then you go to the calculator, and then you can compare the distances from liquidation price to your current calculations, right? And so 3868, and what you have to do is there are times it'll be within 0 to 2%. And like I say, so if anybody has any thoughts on maybe how to automate this so that we can actually maybe grab Binance data and so that this is real-time edited, that would be amazing. But for now, this would just be a by hand exercise so that you could see how to adjust it based on the Binance calculations for liquidation. However, this is the, at the time of looking at it, there was a differential of almost 1.3% on the short side. So meaning if you enter into a short, your liquidation price is going to be 1.3% closer to you, right? So that's the overview of how to utilize this calculation. Now, then we go to the start and stop conditions here, which, like I say, I'm going to be touching on a little bit more onto the next presentation. This one is like I say, we got a lot to go over still. So the goal is to capitalize on trading market conditions and also dial risk down when market conditions flip against us. It's important to be aware of the 1 hour, 4 hour trend signals for BTC and ETH, as these should dictate how we run our bots. The larger the time frame, the stronger the signal. But however, as Alex touched on earlier, the larger the time frames, the less reactive they are, right? So if I go to the BTC chart here, let's look at the 1 hour. And you'll see it's probably, so it's going to be short on the 1 hour, right? I go to the 4 hour, it's flipping short down here. I go to the daily is still going to be long, right? So the daily is not going to flip short till 40K, which if you caught earlier, we're thinking if we come back to around 40K, grab some liquidity, that would be where we would start seeing movement up. However, if you go to the 5-minute, 5-minute would be short at about 51. Go to simply the 1-minute with no high time frame. You're at, sorry, the 1-minute with, as an example, 1-minute with 1-minute, it just chops, right? So the lower the time frame, the more reactive it is. The larger the time frame, the more delayed it is. However, the stronger the signal. So if you're looking at this, good indication of overall trend would be 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day. 1 hour, turn long bots on utilizing normal risk. 1 hour, 4 hour, increase risk on long bots to 150% of normal risk. 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, increase risk on long bots to 200% of normal risk.
Yeah, you're looking for confluence between all of these time
yeah,
frames.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so you want to have the reactiveness of the 1 hour with the confirmation of a daily. All those flipping together is where it's time to lean in, not on a daily or a 4 hour alone.
Exactly. So it'd be something like this. So your 1 hour flips somewhere around here, and then your 4 hour leans in, then your daily leans in. So then you capitalize on the run up from 37 to even 33. You get to 49 and 52, 32% gain, 37% gain. That's when you really want to be leaning in. Now from there, you've got options. Your options are start and stop bots using the 1 hour. You could start and stop bots using the 30-minute. That's going to be up to the individual user, or utilize the ones on the Discord. At the end of the day, these are just recommendations. I personally don't use automation for turning on and off bots because I like to just play with them daily. So its risk tolerances are to be defined by the user. Increasing risk or decreasing risk can mean increasing pairs BO and SO. So the pairs could go up, the base order, safety order, initial take profit, anything like that can be adjusted and up and or down. And then same with the shorts as well. Larger time frame, stronger single. 1 hour short, turn long bots off, turn short bots on if you run shorts. 1 hour, 4 hour, increased risk on short bots if you're running short bots. 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, increased risk on short bots to 200% of normal risk. Now, this is assuming that you're running short bots. I currently don't run short bots. You can run short bots, right? I'm not saying you can't, because this is a perfect time to capitalize on the dump. However, if you go back in time and you look, it's always so easy to get caught in shorts in something like this. And so what we're actually working on is let's call it a TTM squeeze indicator, something like that. We'll see if that can't be applied to bots on the short side, because it seems often you'll see short trades in and then a squeeze occurs and then boom, you get wrecked in a short. So that's what's happened in the past. Like I say, we personally and myself personally, I'd rather just run longs only. And then if I've got bag trades on spot here, I'll just wait, see if we establish, add a little bit more, get them out up here, run that way, right? You got to establish your risk. So when we do that, that can be all automated. Like I say, you use the signals on and off, adjust your risk based on that. That can be very helpful. Utilize the DCA spreadsheet, establish what's the max pairs traded that you can run. And this is for 3 commas users. So if you're running 6 pairs traded and you've got, let's say if I don't even have a lick price shown here, that's great. However, if I've got something like this, 800, I need to establish that, okay, at 65% away from my average entry price, there is a potential that I would liquidate this account, and am I willing to risk that? So whatever you need to do to establish your risk, please do it. At minimum, start with your overall balance, look at your exposure limits, and then work backwards. Always think, what's the worst that could happen, and am I willing to, either lose these funds or put them in jeopardy? And if not, then you need to establish that you need to go to spot, and you need to just trade spot only, work on your mental toughness, and then go back to futures. Like I say, it's very enticing to make huge gains on futures with something like this, because trust me, something like this, the gains on it would be huge. However, your drawdown is too much. and this all would have been lost, in this dump, as an example. So now, without further ado, Tough Octopus, do you think we're ready here? Might have to unmute him. Is he there?
I don't even see him on.
I don't.
Oh yeah,
I
he's
think
there.
he's there. I think he's maybe not.
I asked him to unmute.
Maybe also, if you can't share,
And if
you could email us the presentation, and then we could share it.
Yeah, that could work too.
yeah, well, why don't we do a little announcement for our VIPs? I know this is
Sure.
something
Yeah, let's
we've
do
been
that.
looking forward to. Yeah. So, well, I'll start us off, but we are all about the exclusives for our VIPs. You guys got the Rapid Fire version 3 early, and so Swing Trade Pros, we are now starting to offer NFTs, and these are utility NFTs where you will get some value out of there in the form of discounts. And so Todd has been working very hard on getting these done. It's very cool animations, and Nick is bringing them up now. These are the NFTs we're offering. Do you want to go through them, Todd? What we are offering here?
You can. That should be fine.
Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry, this is
Oh
Stefan.
yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Yeah.
For some reason, the UI froze, but I am ready to go.
All right. Well, we're just gonna get through this.
Sure.
Well, Nick, why don't you go through them? You're opening them up.
Yeah, I can do that for sure. Hold on one sec. All right, so we have the collection's called STP Rockets. It's our first NFT collection we've done. We did release one NFT in the past. I think it was last year. But this is one, we put a lot of time into it. So each of these NFTs comes with some value with it, and then it can also be resold at a higher price. So the most valuable one is the Node Rocket, right? So the Node Rocket is NFT 101. It's set on bid right now. So there's 3 days, and we're only offering this to VIPs before we offer it to the public. So VIPs will have a chance to bid and buy it, and then if it doesn't sell for some reason, then we'll open up to everyone. And also, a percentage of these sales are actually going to our STP mods. They've been working night and day and helping everyone, not just VIPs with questions. So we want to give back. So a portion of these sales will actually go to all our STP mods. But this is the top value NFT out of our collection. It goes from 1 to 5. So 1 is most valuable, 2 is the next valuable. But when you come in here, if you have an OpenSea account, you can bid on this. And basically under the description tells you what it comes with. So this is going to come with 1 year access of the SAR indicator, $4,100 value, and also the VIP. So if you purchase this NFT, you can add to your current subscription or use this when it expires, and then also resell it to someone else who may want this. STP Rocket number 2, it's the Bitcoin rocket. So this one is also open for bid. So the bid ends in 3 days, and the description here is you get 1 year access to the SAR. So if you win this NFT, then you will get the 1 year access to it. So it's a $4,800 value. Bids right now starts at $2,500. And then the next 3 are you can actually just purchase them. So there's only 3 available. So this is the ETH Rocket. It's available for 0.7, and you get 1 year access to the VIP. The next one is the Doge Rocket. And then Highway Terrorist, I think he did a really great job helping design these along with Todd. So this one's the Doge one, and you would get 50% off the SAR indicator. So it's $2,400 value. And then the last one is the STP Moon, so it doesn't have any logo, and then it'd be 50% off VIP. So definitely good value here. So definitely check it out. The website is just OpenSea. I think we already posted a VIP, but we'll repost it. But OpenSea, or you just search for STP Rockets, and it should come up at the top.
Especially right now, get a nice little dip on ETH, right? True.
Yeah, and a lot of these NFTs is just meaningless artwork. With this, you get that discount, and if you plan on using these bots for a while, you can keep that with you and keep getting that discount. And of course, our prices do go up over time, so it's good to keep that in your collection, and that way you can keep the discount going. And of course, resale value. These are going to keep going up. Floor price. You guys know how NFTs go; they keep going up. So it's an interesting investment with some real utility and value there. So enjoy, guys.
They're definitely on sale with the ETH drop right now. So.
Yeah, and this is exclusive for our VIPs.
Everything's on sale.
Yeah. So this is exclusive to you guys. You guys can get first dibs on it. And we won't be releasing this to the general community. This is all about VIPs first. We will have some more that will go to the general population, general community, but these are really the ones. This is the best of the best. You guys get first dibs. So enjoy. And Tough Octopus, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, you go ahead.
All right. Let me share my screen. Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
Secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
I love it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to this show. I just want to share some exciting DegenBot setups that I used. And first of all, this is not a financial advice. And I do not recommend using these for just, the normal settings. As Todd said, this is very, very risky. And it's only works in a very strong uptrend market. So let me start with this. So quick plan that I put together. Just a quick note that when I start kind of testing this and working on this, I did not use Weak Hunter or VPC because it was not VTC, sorry. It was not available at that point. So I just used 3 commas and TradingView and SAR indicator. But this can be replicated, obviously, for also the VIP strategy. So the idea of this is basically to show that this approach, just to share a general approach. So let's start with the mindset. So when you go into degen mode, you gotta think about that you are not here for money. And the reason for that, because it's easy to panic and easy to sell at the wrong moment, right? Like today, for example. The reason I started this was a challenge, personal challenge for me. Can I turn a certain amount into like 10 or 20 times of that? And I decided I'm not going to obsess about my results, but of course I did obsess it in the Discord, right? A little bit. I got a lot of folks excited. It's my bad, I have to apologize for that. And also, the $2,000 that I started with, I knew that I could lose it and I would be fine with that, right? And I'm not going to cry over it. Maybe I'll drink, not as much as Mr. Toe, of course, but a little bit enough to keep me happy, right? And of course, I'm not going to blame anybody.
I can hear you, huh?
I know you can. That's the purpose, right? Say thank you that I didn't include that picture of you. Very happy one. And, the mindset is all about not blaming anyone, and especially not blaming yourself. It is what it is. You lose your money, you have to move on. It's your mental health is the most important thing in this. And the other thing is you got to pay taxes. If you not get liquidated, you got to pay taxes. I know quite a few folks that didn't pay taxes got in trouble, right? if you have now, you can afford your personal therapist. Use that therapist to your advantage, and also avoid pump and dump coins. For example, my last pump and dump coin was CVC that was dumped a few days ago, and it was like minus 30%. And actually, I'm glad that I'm going after Todd after he introduced the bot settings calculator, because that calculator helps you to understand where is your conservative settings and where is your degen settings. And he did touch the degen settings when you go minus 30, minus 50% dump. All right, so let's move on. So what is degen mode versus normal baseline? It's very simple. You just kind of forget about too much of a risk management, and you go with much higher exposure. My baseline for degen mode, it's about 50% of my account. So for example, for 2000, I used $1,000 unleveraged amount. And for that, I would start maybe with the higher leverage, like 50. And when my account grows, I would decrease it to 20. And 20 is something as a safer, I can use much higher BO and SO values, because Binance, for example, if you use Binance, does not allow you to go to use a higher volume, as we mentioned before. I prefer to use the cross leverage mode. It helps a little bit with liquidation prices to stay low as your account grows. You know, in the normal baseline, you would use about 7 DCA levels. And in degen mode, I go further. And the reason for that is I like to use DCA a little bit more aggressively. So I use 20. And then for some deals, if they stuck in kind of a bad situation, I would increase it to 30 if I have enough cash in my account. If something goes really wrong, I would detach, I would cancel the deal, and I go directly to exchange and I DCA manually. For DCA steps, I do not use martingale approach. I use DCA step 1. So, which means it allows me to control the volume. That's why I use more DCA levels than usual. It still allows me to get out of the minus 5% drop pretty quickly.
Makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a, you know, on the edge, Blade Runner style, but it worked. So for BO size, you know, when you start at 2K level, you go with like 50 to 100 bucks a pop, so to speak, because you want to gain those profits really quickly. Now, for smaller coins, you want to start with 50. For bigger coins like ETH or BTC, you can start with 100. And for SO size, I use the same size as BO. I do not increase the size of it. Now, when it comes to the SAR settings, I usually turn off the div, and I use Todd's and Canadian CTO aggressive settings, so there's nothing unusual there. And for degen mode, I never use shorts. As Todd mentioned, if you use shorts, you can be wrecked real easy. I do not use stop loss. Instead, I use aggressive manual DCA. And also, degen mode works only in a very strong uptrend market. Like Todd mentioned, you want to use it in the short stretches while the market is pumping. When the market is dumping, you turn off your degen bots and use a much more conservative approach. Now, as a result of these little experiments, in the first 2 days, I made like 10 bucks, you know, 10 to 100 bucks. And then I kept increasing BOSO, I kept adding more bots, and the 5th day, I suddenly made 1,200. Crazy, right? On the 10th day, I suddenly got 8,500, and then market kind of dropped a little bit. So I was averaging maybe like $1,000 a day. My best day was 10K. And to be honest, I had to lay down on the floor flat and breathe because it was something crazy that happened. And then after that, it was averaging about like 7,500 more or less. And in the end, the growth that I took a snapshot today before the crash, it took about 28 days to get from 2K to 80K. And when it comes to bots, number of bots, I started with 4 bots. It was AVAX, BTC, ETH, and ADA. And then I scaled to 67 bots, which was insane. And this usually on a bad day when it was the market would dump like 5-8%, I would use 50% of my account in unleveraged amount to like 40K. So that's for the exciting news. So I would get about like 1,000 deals of $5 a pop, $20 a pop, and it just added up. It's like I would refresh the page, and every second I would get a deal like that. On a bad day, usually you will get 33% of margin, which is, it's not a good thing. But you can survive that, and for DGen account. So again, even for DGen accounts, I would say risk management is important. You don't want to go over the 50% of your account because you can be liquidated within seconds. And so I came up with this little formula of when I can add a new bot. I found that for average coin, you would use 800 per BOSO, and at 20 steps DCA, you would use 840 per bot. And so if you get 8,000 in your account, you can add 10 bots. And at that point, I would grow. And I already mentioned that I don't use the stop losses. Sometimes I would go, and because I'm using 3 commas, if I run out of DCAs, I would click on edit and change this amount to go to 30, 40, or even 50 if I have extra cash in my account. And this how it looks, for example, how much I would use with 18 steps of DCA. It's about 15,000 leverage. And this is my table for 20 steps at 0.5%. As you can see, I can go down to 10%, still using decent amounts. So I ended up using 20 leverage, and for example, these steps for BOSO that I was used, I usually would go from 50 to 800. These are my steps that I would increase. And for example, as I mentioned, I use scale 1, a volume 1 also, and I would step at 0.5% of a price change. And as you can see, these are my steps for bigger coins, middle coins, and very small coins. I would stop at 400 for very small coins. That helps to control kind of a very big dump. This is something that I already mentioned. One of the things that I ended up using for SAR is instead of 0.2, I was using 0.5%, and my trailing deviation would be 0.2. Now, this is something unusual. What I find is I would avoid a couple of steps before the top of the wave, and so I don't get bagged. But 0.5 point two, you can also use point two if you want to squeeze a little bit more deals. Now, this is the cautionary tale. This is what happened today. This account got liquidated. And so I tried to move, I moved about 20K in account, tried to save it. And so I was not fast enough. But about 100K loss. And I don't feel bad about it because my real cash loss was only 2,000. Mm-hmm. But I learned a lot of lessons from this. And so the lesson from this first is probably move some cash out of the account, or decrease, step from the degen mode. As soon as you get a growth of 60K, go to more conservative settings. And now I'm trying to restart this challenge again, waiting for the Bitcoin to hit the support level. So this is it. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, I like what you did with the step scale there, not over investing in the losing trades and instead just focusing on the winners. That's excellent, and I think we can all learn a lot from that. Trades that go against you, those are not good investments. So focusing in on the ones that have lots of room to move. The 0.5% take profit is good when you can get right at the bottoms, like you guys saw what Todd was doing before, where he had very aggressive RSI settings, 55 and 45, whatever it was. If you're just buying the beginning of an uptrend, having those 0.5% take profit will work very well. I would just worry about having divs off because you could end up getting stuck on that. But
that was the point. SAR, I was thinking about SAR using a tool to kind of, not to shotgun, but mostly like get a positive trade signals. And, if I get 2 or 3 sales out of pump, it's still good enough for me.
Yes. Yeah, and you can DCA out of the bad deals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the point of this degen approach that I actually tested in the paper account before I went to the real money account. And so this seemed to be a much better approach when you degen versus like if you're more conservative, you want to go 0.2.
Yeah, I love this. The innovative thinking is great, man. Very impressive.
Yeah.
What I like is I love the mindset so that you're basically establishing, okay, I'm going to take 2K and just whatever happens is whatever happens, right? So it sucks, right? So some people are going to look at it and say, oh no, I lost 107. I'm just going to cry about it for the next 2 months and I'm out. I love how you've got here. My loss in real cash is 2K. That isn't much, right? It's another challenge. It's something that is worth it to have lost this for the knowledge to improve, right? So if you're focusing strictly on the loss, then you're already screwed your mindset for the next 1 month, 2 months, because you're going to be chasing, right? So you've already established that it doesn't matter. I've just lost my initial investment of $2,000. However, I went a 50x in a month. That knowledge alone is worth it to just establish. And to just circle back to kind of what we were talking about last VIP on the mindset, right? You're in this market for a long time. You've established that you're going to be trading for, the next couple of years or whatever. You're not putting any negative vibes on yourself by saying my loss in real cash is 2,000. Right? Next month, maybe you go 2,000 to 50 and you pull 25 and maybe you live on 25K for a month and take a nice trip, right? It's the knowledge that you've gained that were able to go from here to here to here. But like I say, winners they'll learn from it. They'll write down what happened. Losers will dwell on the mistakes and try and chase.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
It
take
doesn't end
unnecessary
well.
risks to chase those
Yeah.
losses. That's the big problem when you see a loss and then you just say, okay, I have to make back that 100K and then I'll be happy, and you just
Yeah.
go even more degen, and it's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the point of this is just making money is easy. And that's what people
Yes.
don't understand. Making
Yeah.
money is easy. And when you have this skill set, you know, in my life, in my real life, I lost few things and I started from the very bottom multiple times. And I think this is the mindset that I acquired, right? I've been living in the streets for some time. And look where I am right now. I don't bother losing 100K.
Yeah.
So this is what's important. This is the life lesson that I took from me living in the streets and also going through this example, this experience, that you lose, it's okay. You next month when BTC hits the support, I probably will take 20 grand and I will be smarter about it, right? And I could make 100K again in 30 days.
So
Yeah.
It does not matter.
here's the real question. Is this knowledge worth a $2,000 loss? You bet your ass it is. Excuse my language.
It is.
But that is this, because this is applicable not only this month, the next month, the next month. This is applicable for trading for the rest of your life,
Well
right?
said.
So this is worth, you know, so like I said, don't fixate on it's negative 107. Next round you become stronger, you hit it a little bit less aggressive, you know when to take more profits, but you can, if you could take $2,000 into 107K in or sorry, if you added 20, if that went to 80, and so you did a 40x in under a month, you know, you could be living off that. You could pull 40K next time and then just walk away, throw 40K on spot, have no problems. This is amazing for sharing, right? And more so, I just want everybody to focus on the mindset. Don't focus on the loss, focus on the lesson. So what's the lesson that did you learn today, right? Okay, well, maybe I didn't take profits, or maybe this and that. Focus on how to improve, not the loss, and then understand that you're in it for the long game. It's a long game, not a short game. And so focusing on the loss is the short game. And
Yeah,
it
and
will
I
end
think
you in bad times.
yeah. I think tough octopus, now you're going to have a more of a plan next time for taking profit as well. You'll be able to have a TP
Yep.
plan where you know these dumps are possible. And the sad thing is, most people need to go through a liquidation to really learn that lesson, because it just, right, 100K. Well, I'm going to make that 200K and 300K. You have to be able to step back, let go, take some of those profits, and then let it keep ripping, and especially your initial investment capital.
Yep.
Yeah. So some good lessons. Yeah.
And let me just interject one more time, and then I think I'm good on this. So Arun just noted a lot of uses for Mark's tool here on the degen mode. So there's the ability to scale, take profits based on DCA levels hit, cancel safety orders once margin levels hit. If you hit a margin level, it'll panic sell your, you know, worse deal or less deal. So there's a ton of automation that we'll bring to the next VIP, and we'll kind of go through a full overview of it as well. So that I can see as being a highly recognized tool that we can use. And then let's say today you hit 5% margin usage, it cancels the rest of your remaining safety orders. So then if it, instead of just snowballing on the way down in liquidation, maybe you're just stuck at 5% margin usage. And if you've got auto transfer set up, you got 50-50 going. And then let's say you hit 10% margin usage, it panic sells your worst deal or something like that. You know, that's a good way to save an account, especially if you're running degen. But at the end of the day, it has to start with the psychology that you want to be in the market for a long time, and you have to establish the risks. And to understand the risks, you have to understand that you can lose it all or win it all. It's up to you and how you set it up, right? And so it was touched on a little bit earlier in chat. Simply sharing settings isn't the way to go about it. Each person in here kind of has to own their own bots and their own settings, right? So if I'm liquidated one day and I'm making profits the next day, you need to own that, and you need to understand that it's your own settings. You need to set up what you're comfortable with. I see in chat a lot of users saying, you know, I've been running conservative ever since May, and that's totally fine, right? If you want to run the conservative methods and have no issues, that's fine. Just don't expect the high profits when the market's moving. A lot of us running the high risk stuff are expected to lose that account, right? And as we just shown, you can go very high numbers, but you can also go very high losses too, right? So each individual trader here is going to be different. We can't just say here's one blanket idea and everyone do it. Everyone kind of has to go over their own strategies and figure out what's best for them, right? So
Yeah, you could tell who's the experienced users because they're not saying, oh, it was the settings fault or you know, this, you know, they take ownership of their own mistakes and are not looking back on those, they're looking forward. So it makes a big difference.
yeah, I agree. So that's a good thought here, Highway Terrace. Maybe only run degen for a bit when all charts agree. Yeah, absolutely agree. But like I say, you have to kind of come up with your own strategy, you know, whether that's auto transfer and you're taking 80% of profits. Maybe you dial everything down once it flips bearish, or maybe you just set it so that you're taking 100% of profits. I know there's a few people in here that do that because they understood the risk that, hey, anything on futures is basically gambling at times. It can be very risky. So if you're comfortable taking 100% of profits, then you get your initial investment back in a couple of days. All you can ever lose is your initial investment. So it's the result. It's a result of learning, right? Continuous learning. You can set anything up using automation. And one final note before maybe we get into a question session here is I love when Tough Octopus said knowledge is invaluable, comparing it to on the streets, right? So it's only a 2K loss, but it's the mindset there. So if you could take 2K into 100K, you could take 2K into 1 million. It's easy to make money. It's harder to keep it, right? So he said it's very easy to make money, and truthfully it is. It's just a lot harder for new users to keep it, right? So anybody can go 2K to 30K on a very aggressive strategy. It's just very harder to keep it. What we often see is a lot of users go all in and then they're compounding everything, and then just one fell swoop, it's all gone. So you gotta recognize that risk and just be aware that anything on futures is risky. Only risk what you're afford to or willing to lose, and try to aim every day to recognize the risks and learn going forward.
Yeah. 95% of people on futures lose it all, right? Just in the dump in May on Binance, 75% of all positions were liquidated. So it's not easy to be one of those 5% that doesn't lose everything. And you know, when we say lose everything, that's where just taking out that initial capital, like the 2,000 that the Tough Octopus started with, then you're actually keeping 100% of what you put in. So start there, and then you know, whether using Daisy Auto Transfer or looking at you know, levels for when you take profit, you have a strategy, have that plan in place. And today is one of those days where you really, you know, you learn those lessons the hard way, or you had those plans in place where you say, okay, I'm in a good position.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
So maybe let's get to the pairs before we go to the question. So I'll just share quickly just to go over the Discord, what we've done in the Discord here. So we're going to make everything read only. So as of right now, this channel should be read only now. We'll confirm this after the call. And then so I combined the pairs list into two different things. So this is the pairs list for counter trade only. So this is going to be on the Wick Hunter bot. And then this is the VIP pairs list for futures and spot. And then if you're running it on the Wick Hunter bot, make sure the pairs are enabled. So these are both read only, and there's going to be a list of mainly, I believe these are mainly DeFi coins, right? For the next leg up for DeFi coins. So feel free to run these. Here's the price targets. So you could either run these on bots, or you could run them on manual swings, kind of do whatever you see as fit. And I just want to take a note here, focus on trading highly trending and highly volatile pairs for maximum gains. Pairs to be evaluated weekly or bi-weekly. Please ensure these are enabled on the WeHunter bot to trade. And like I say, when you enable pairs, double check and go over. It's nice to utilize the profit tracker script, and then that way you're able to see what's doing good profits and what isn't. And then for spot here, we got SAR spot. The focus is on trading high market cap and high value coins on spot. Can choose to take profits in USDT or in the coin itself and sell the coins at cycle tops. So if you want to just do the slow and steady route where you don't really have to time the sells, just take your profits in USDT. Or if you want to gain the coins themselves and sell the coins at the top, this is the list that I'm prepared to hold. And so this would be the list that I take profits in, as I believe it's base on 3 commas or whatever. I can't remember at this moment. But so I'm actually taking profit. I'm trading USDT into these coins. These coins go up. I sell these coins and I take the little bit of profit as each individual coin. And the plan is going to be, if you hit the cycle top, that is going to be when you're going to want to use that sell all to USDT button on 3 commas. And so I haven't checked this recently. I bet you this just repainted, because I don't think this showed the dump here. This is why I'm not really gauging anything on this chart anymore. So it'll just repaint all day. However, at the next top, that will be the plan, is sell all these coins for USDT. We'll either scale out using what we accumulate on spot using grid bots, or just layered exits. So that'll be kind of in the future once we start getting back up here. But as you watched in VIP2, I like utilizing grid bots to buy the dip, and then you can also use them to sell the tops, as you can set your exits 1 or 2x above, and then each little bit above it starts selling it, and you're still playing off the volatility up and down. So this will be very helpful for everyone here. This is the pairs list in here. We'll just double check that this is read only. And what we'll probably do is we'll probably prune this channel, clean this up, so it's a little bit more user friendly, because there's this didn't work. There's just too much stuff going on in here. Now, after that, what we'll do is I'll stop sharing and then we'll get into questions.
We still have one thing before we do questions. This is
Okay.
a lot of content for you guys today, but I still have to talk about rapid fire. And it's really been incredible, you guys. What a group we have. 59 people helping me test this spot. I can't thank you guys enough for getting in on there. You could see rapid fire did not get in this dump at all, did very well. And I want to thank everyone for signing up. But really the point of all this is to see how it goes and share your profits, right? Show me how it went. And so what we're going to be doing, so we have this this brand new divergence filter. We're starting with the rapid fire, but this same divergence filter is now over the next week or two, I'm going to be adding that to SAR and making SAR version 4.5 for you guys. And so the deal is, if you would like access to SAR version 4.5, please share some results of how rapid fire has been going for you. And everyone who shares results and gives me some, or just generally gives some feedback on rapid fire, you will get access, VIP only, of course, will get access to SAR version 4.5 with the new divergence filter. All right, so we're focusing in on being a good testing community and giving good feedback. And whoever does that, you'll get in on SAR version 4.5 with the brand new divergence filter. All right, so send your P&L. Let's have a look, and hopefully it's been going very well for you guys. I'm very, very happy with how this is handling, especially that 60-minute 100 on the bear divs. It just seems to get the major tops very well. So I'm very, very happy with that. And so when we have SAR on there, it's going to be doing the same thing, getting these huge run-ups and then not getting bagged up. So hope you guys are looking forward to that. We will have more on SAR version 4.5 in the next VIP. And again, that list will go out to those who are sharing their feedback on rapid fire. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Now we can go to questions.
Yeah, so just go ahead and either type them in chat or unmute yourselves if you're, willing. And what we could do is maybe go to security and make sure everybody can unmute themselves.
I think so. It should be okay.
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, Toe's there. What's up, Toe? How's it
Yo.
going, man?
Not good.
No.
No, not at all. I lost my account, but it's okay.
Yeah.
This morning my VPS restarted.
Oh, geez.
Because of Windows update. And
Hmm.
WinCounter doesn't forgets the open position data. So my DCA buys were gone. And yeah, I lost my
Oh.
account.
So
Yeah.
it kept buying.
That happened
Yeah.
to
It,
three
it,
commas in
start
the middle of the big
DCAing,
dump
again.
in May.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I think that fucked me up, but on the other hand, it's my own fault. Maybe I should have take out profit sooner.
Yeah.
But it's a
Yeah, it's
lesson.
always
I'm
good
just
to
going to
be on
regain
risk.
strength and start again. Just not going to quit.
Excellent.
And I would like to have access to your rapid fire if it's possible. I'm going to try it on Bybit.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, for sure, mate. What's your, send me your TV ID and we'll get you on there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's something for you guys to risk off. You can definitely use rapid fire on your spot or even on futures. And if the market is getting volatile, then yeah, rapid fire is definitely a way to risk off. And even running SAR and rapid fire on the same account, you'll catch more trades, especially if you have the divs on SAR and on rapid fire. It's a good way to be low risk but still get a decent number of trades, and they work differently. So it's it's very interesting.
But must I then set alerts for rapid fire and for PSAR on the same time? Won't they give errors or something? Won't it give that bad trades?
If there's an open
Anything?
position, it just won't open another
Oh,
position.
okay.
So that's okay.
Mm.
Interesting.
Mhm. Anyone else? Let's get some questions going here. We had a list of questions from one user, Todd. I remember. I know that we covered some of it with DCA calculator and that sort of stuff.
During the dump, is it better to turn off the wick hunter so it won't DCA and don't get things worse? Don't click stop. You can exit it and it'll stop DCAing. Or what I like to do is just turn allocation low. So you could go allocation prepared to like 1%. That won't DCA your current open positions. It's just cut off there. The questions that we had earlier, we basically covered most of it. How to trade large accounts, lower your leverage, lower your limit sizes, etc. Went over the spot stuff. Sorry, just one more here. It was 60-minute for trend verification be safe. Now you're saying 5 minutes is better. No, so 60-minute is safe, so you can turn your
60,
bots
yeah.
off using that. I think you mean 5 minutes, and I think what you're meaning is when Alex was saying go to 5 minutes on the high time frame on the SAR indicator, because 5 minute is more receptive.
Reactive, yeah. No, if you want to risk off, like this is a great way, is to have 60 minutes on trend verification, and it's looking for not just 60-minute trend, but also if you make a new lower low on an hourly candle, it's going to detect that. So it is very good. So definitely, if you want to have a way to risk off automatically and you don't need to go in and change your alerts every time or have multiple alerts, just put 60 minutes on trend verification. And you can go lower too. You know, we have slow reaction time on 60 in some cases for a quick dump. So you can go to a 30 or a 15. But just keep in mind that because of that lag, you'll lose a lot of signals, particularly on a 60 minutes. Price will start to go up again and you'll be like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not getting any signals. That's because you have to wait for that 60 minute to flip back up
To
again,
close,
for example. Yeah.
Alex, on the same
Yeah.
topic, I recently joined VIP, so I'm sorry if I'm asking very stupid questions here.
It's
There
okay,
is
go
so much
ahead.
here going on. So like, if we have a two mechanism to prevent the drawdown, one is like you can enable a 1 hour fire, like buy and long, what the thought suggested on the BTC, and that itself will shut down all the bots if the short is coming on 1 hour, right? But I was wondering if I have that and also enable your trend verification on 60 minute, is it like a duplicate, or is like a, should I do
It's
just one of them?
Yeah, so it is very similar. The point of verification is to basically automate that process. What Todd is doing is using the actual trend change rather than waiting for the first long to fire. So you with the trend change on SAR, you get it will switch, will flip a little bit earlier than the first long. So there's an advantage there, and it gives you more control. You know, you can have multiple alerts set, and choose exactly the settings. And also, if you're using the alerts like Todd is with the different time frames, maybe you know, if trend switches, it's not just turning off. Maybe you just go to a divs on bot rather than just shutting off all longs. You could just go to a very conservative divs on, just catching the lows of the 1 minute trends, and still getting some price action, even while maybe price is in a dump, and you know you're not going to get bagged up. So there are different ways to use that manual. I'm trying to automate more and more,
Yeah.
you know, but
I
go
think
ahead, Todd.
for the further versions, let me just share quickly. I feel like what would be nice is if we could utilize these as a fail safe. So as long as it's long, the bots are on, and if it's not, then cut it out, right? So that's where we're going to. And as talked about earlier, like if you go to the 5 minute and you use the 5, it's going to be very receptive. So this is just the 5 minute and 5. So it's going to flip a lot sooner. Whereas if you're waiting for the 60, if I go to 60 and 60, it flips right here after a good portion of that move is done, right? So then from here, you're relying on div settings or RSI to cut you out, and or number of pairs that you are utilizing. So in the further V4.5, or if we go to a swing bot type thing, ideally we're going to be brainstorming and thinking of a way that we can turn off bots. Maybe you have a fail safe on dgen so that it has to print 1 hour long to keep that bot alive, and then they shut off here, you know, just as an example. So we're always trying to think about ways to make this a little bit more automated for everything. So for now, what you can do is you could utilize the 30, you could utilize the 1 hour, and then, like I say, utilize the signals on the Discord, which would be here, right? So 1 hour, so you could do this manually. And then as stated earlier, if you can take a look at the market cycle and just utilize this in your own TA, this can be very helpful as well, right? If you go to the channel, you'll be able to grab that chart and you could look for divergences. So mainly for now, as you're doing it, ideally you want to be running your degen stuff when it's long. You want to go in very heavy at the start of the run because that's your official trend change, but we need some way to cool it off near the top before the reverse. So that's what we're going to be brainstorming over the next couple of weeks here, is how can we make this so that during these we have a fail safe so that our longs aren't on during this dip and they shut off here. So if anybody's got any suggestions, you could always dump them in the Discord.
Yeah, and for now we have automated this somewhat with that trend verification. So you can use 1 hour or even down to a 15 or a 30 minute, but you know, you're going to get a lot less signals. So make sure that you're aware that, you know, by risking off with that larger frame time frame trend verification, you are going to get less signals. But you know, if you're not liquidated as a result, then that's good, right?
Trend verification means that the price has to continue higher. So that is like right here. So you filter out that long. Price is actually dumping. We don't want that long. And same here with the short. Price is reversing. We don't want to be taking those.
Right. And has it ever occurred, like let's say your 1 hour might be on. So like we have a trend verification on, plus we have also 1 hour BTC bot turn off on, but still before it dump wholly, it open all your deal position. So like right now, many times when I see that when 1 hour BTC shows short signal, it turns off my all bots, but somehow it still catches couple of out of my 8 pairs. So let's say if I have 10,000 right now, I have 8 pairs running. I'm a little bit aggressive. I need to shut down, come down a little bit, but I still catch two, but they after some time they vanish. But it takes like a 1 or maybe sometime 1.5 day in worst case. But do you ever see, let's say on the May situation, is it possible that even with that 1 hour turn off, we can still see that all the 8 bots are on or catch that drop at just the precipice of that fall?
So in the May situation, you'd get this chop, your bots would be off, you get that. There's enough fluctuation in the DCA to come from here. The main thing in the May situation is the 4 hour flip short. So that's why we put out a couple of YouTube blasts saying, hey, like, this is not looking good. The overall thing in the May situation, though, was the daily flip bearish there. So this was when we started looking like, hey, we're probably going to reverse here. And so if you remember me, I got laughed at a couple times because I think I was shorting this wick and I ended up getting wrecked on this candle. I thought it was actually coming down here. So yet again, back to the higher time frame. So 4 hour, then the 1 day flip short after a bull run. That's when I was kind of hands off and I flipped most of my earnings from the run to spot to basically secure my profits. So from then you're running less risk on futures. You go back to futures, you look in May, there's enough volatility to get you out. The main thing that I'm not going to lie is a lot of these times I didn't even run the bots. I had them off unless I could watch the market because I was very gun shy, right? And the effect on profits was huge, right? You know, you don't just go from, you know, March, April making 30 plus K a month to May. I think I made like 7K or something on the bots. It was just like, you know, you get whacked way down for profits. But however, you know, you got to establish that if you're unsure what the trend's going to do, maybe it's time to risk off and go down to 50%. So back to the initial question, if you're looking at this here, you can back test this by utilizing this chart, and then you could overlay it with a bot chart to see what the bot would do. The main thing here is TradingView is not going to allow you to go back in and look at the candles because it's too far past. So you would just imagine that in here you've got your longs. As long as you've got a candle wick above your current price or enough volatility for it to come down, come down and then retrace 50%. If we aim for 50% DCA and a deviation, that's where you'd get these positions out. And then from here, this was when I called short. I think it was like 10th of May or something, or 11th of May. And then from here, what you do is you look, okay, so if I've got bots here on in this time, let's say I buy up to here. If I touch down on that wick there, there's just enough to get you out. That's a 50%. And then from there, ideally you've got everything risk off after the identified 4-hour flips short, right? So if you wanted to make these charts, basically make these charts and push alerts to yourself just so that you can know what the overall trend is. At minimum, you could do 1 hour, 4-hour starts, but if you're wanting to still take a hands-on approach, you could just utilize the 1 hour. Like I said, we will be making this a bit more fail-safe, but at the end of the day, like I say, the 1 hour is going to be a little bit later, right? So it's always going to be better to utilize manual TA and or 5-minute for SAR on there. And like I say, if you've got safe setups, definitely use conservative div settings. If you've got aggressive, go with divs off, but you need to use more hands-on, right? Anytime that your divs off, it's more hands-on, and you'll have to be aware of trend change and or TA. Otherwise, you end up potentially losing accounts.
So the real question is really on the 11th May. Oh, sorry, someone is speaking. Go ahead. Pavel, you're going to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
Pavel, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a suggestion and share maybe what saved me basically in this drop down. I'm running the PSAR with Profit Trailer, and it really helped me that I have established the following system there. Is that I'm running the bots with divs off only when there is a BTC 1 hour long.
Great.
And if it's not, then you are switching to you are receiving signals only with divs on. And then another thing which really, saved my ass, I think, is that I have precautions. So I do DCA only if it's either not short or it's long. And basically, I'm having a situation with that either it's 15 minutes short or 1 hour short. I do not do any DCA at all. And in these situations, what is happening right now, I'm basically everything was dropping, but my DCA was not working at all. Unfortunately, it's not possible to utilize on free commerce. And that's one of the things I'm still very grateful to Snow when he introduced all of us to the Profit Trailer. So I don't know, Todd, maybe for TVC, you should also, think about this, because I think that one of the reasons people get wrecked is that price is starting to drop and it's still DCA. While, for example, you would just stop any DCA, you would basically be saved, just like I believe to some extent in my case as well.
That's excellent.
Smarter DCA. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things with the counter trading bot is that it will just keep buying and sizing up and scaling. Now you can use more of a bell curve strategy that Todd uses, where it sort of focuses in on that 7.5 to 12.5% kind of area. But yeah, it will keep buying, and if people go, I've seen people with very high buy percentages, and it just keeps increasing and increasing as percentage goes down on the DCA. That can just it can get you wrecked very quickly. So it's a good idea. Definitely. Again, it's all about not over investing in those trades that never should have taken place in the first place, right? You want to invest in your winners. Great.
One of the reason people might do that action because in the hope that that DCA will come up at least maybe let's say 12% or 13% back from that lowest low, and that's why they may be DCAing. So where exactly that fine line, I think if you see the chart on the 11th May, just now the Todd show, we got those green signals, but then market fell so quickly, there is no possibility of coming back after that. So how should we so at that day, I will not have a dream that market will fall 50% after that point. So how should we gauge or what should we do to maybe eliminate the risk, because ultimately the highest risk I have is losing all my money, even after even if I'm keeping myself under 3x. First of all, I'm keeping myself under 3x, but even with the 50% loss, that is still not good enough to save my money. So in that sense, like some of the strategies, yes, we are turning 4 hours. We are using 1 hour short. But even with that, on 11th May, you could have still got into the
No, 4 hour short is a hard off for me for bots. So 4 hour short was a hard off. And then I built a short in here. And then you could watch that video on YouTube, but there was basically a lower high here, right? So I had the peaks drawn out, the daily flip short on this run. So kind of identified that. 1 hour short, 4 hour flip short, those are hard no's for long bots. So then everything went off for me. And then it was just, they literally only went on when I wanted to watch the market. Because if you don't, then you still can create long trades in that trend. Meanwhile, the overall 4 hour and the daily are still short. So like I say, once you flip to that higher time frame, then it's going to be up to you to decide what you want to do for the risk. But for me, if the 4 hour flips short, I don't want to run bots in that, and then I will just sit there manually trigger them on if I see a little bit of a dip, and then from there it's your choice if you want to run short bots. So 1 hour, 4 hour, don't run long bots, and no problems there, right? So I didn't lose a thing on this dip other than one Wick Hunter degen account, and like I say, with all these dips, what's apparent is there's always going to be a degen account lost. However, my safe stuff is still fine, right? And so that's my pride and joy, is my safe stuff is still fine. I don't care if I lose a degen account. It's the lessons always learned. Those accounts I gain to make a high ROI quickly, and then I pull the profits out and then go from there, right? So that's what you need to be doing, is 1 hour, 4 hour flip short, no longs, look to run some short trades or something like that, and then protect your spot balances.
Yeah, and you guys will remember hedged positions. That was really what saved me in that dump. Was I had hedged positions plus 50% PNL when we had that dump, and I had DCA only to 7.5% for safety orders. So it didn't, maybe I had one bag. I only had one bag with divs, but that was on Link, and it never went even to a 1-to-1 of my account. It stayed, the total position size was always smaller than my account size. So I think I dipped into the red for about an hour in May. So, these are things, but, I've been liquidated, and so is Todd, and just was liquidated. We learn these things, over time, and how to cover yourself. And we're trying to share that with our VIPs as much as we can, all these different strategies, but you have to find your own mix and what works. And you can automate these things like Pavel was talking with Profit Trailer. That's awesome. But you need to find your own mix of risk management strategies that work for you. And maybe you're not a manual trader, so use more automation. If you have bad trading psychology, right? If you start to freak out when you see a big red candle, go more on the automation strategies than having to rely on, okay, well, Todd says the market is going to dump, but I really like compounding my profits. I don't want to let go. Then you should have automated strategies that are taking profit or flipping your bots off automatically. Yeah. You have to be able to gauge your own psychology on that one. But we're trying to give you guys the tools, anyways. I hope some of you guys are able to get that. But today is a good lesson, and I think we've definitely had a good example of why you should always be trading with a plan. They say that for manual trading, but it's just as important with bots, if not more important.
Yeah, even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great session. As you guys know, we have these NFTs available for you for VIPs only, so you guys can get in on that before anyone else. You can have some Swing Trade Pros NFTs, and those will just keep paying dividends to you guys in the form of discounts. And if you're in it for the long run, that is really a great way to do it. you'll always have those discounts available. And as I said, please post your P&L, your profits, your feedback about Rapid Fire. We have an incredible group, almost 60 people on Rapid Fire. I think it'll be 60 with Mr. Toe. Send me your TV ID if you're not on there yet.
Yes, I will do it after the session, man.
Yeah, excellent.
And keep in mind on that one, we used to run the 15-minute chart long and short. So that if you shared it again, that could be something that I remember just running it forever and it did fine until I cut a short on the prior run up. So now that was before divs, we should be a lot better with that. But the general setup on that one was like a 15-minute chart. And I remember using something like the 30-minute on alts, 20-minute high time frame for BTC, and similar DCA settings as SAR, but you can still run shorts on that because it's on a higher time frame chart.
Yeah. Just if you're running shorts, be very, very aggressive with your bullish divergences, and then you'll be able to make sure you're not catching any bottoms. All right. So yeah, great session, guys. And
I want to thank you a lot for the great information and for the mental support you guys gave me. It was a wise lesson again. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So strong hands, guys.
Yeah.
Lessons learned. Planning, that's the big thing we're learning today. Planning how to take profit. My friend request, please.
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining, guys. And we'll see you in the next one in a couple weeks. All right.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
Everyone.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.